Hello, everybody. Hi. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Clara, and today we're going to be talking about sustainable selling. Does it equal to profits? And I am so excited because I'm going to bring my incredible guest, and because we're both here to help you talk about this incredible topic. So, welcome, Trish. How are
Hey,
you, Trish?
I'm good, Miss Clara. How are you?
Oh, really, really, really good. Happy Friday, everybody. We have, oh my God. Okay, thank you, everybody. Hi, Desiree, Star. How are you? Incredible Star. Thank you, thank you. Dana, Susie, how are you? Oh, it was nice seeing you, Susie, on a listing party on my reseller strategy on Thursdays at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hi, Tommy. How are you? Kimberly. Hi, everybody. Fabulous flamingos. I love that. I
I
love
know. Shar has a great name. She really does.
that. Hi. Hello, hello. Do I say this like Dini or how do you say it, Trish? I don't want to mispronounce.
I I think it would be Deanne, but I'm not
Ah,
sure.
the end. The end. Okay,
That's a
perfect.
guess.
Hello, welcome, welcome. I think you're new. Thank you, thank you. We're happy to have you here. Oh, I love you too, Tommy. Thank you, thank you. Kathy Cox, how are you? Was so amazing. Thank you, Kathy. We have an incredible session, everybody, listening party. Trish is my director of events and educations, and every day she does share her incredible passion for reselling on daily mastermind sessions. And this is free for every List Perfectly member. This is absolutely free. And I just want to congratulate you, Trish, because she has an incredible group of loyal attendees. Here is our session being casted right now, but I wanted to congratulate you, Trish, with because Mastermind is the the most successful session that we have. And today, for example, we have True Crime and List, Menendez Brothers in Netflix. Oh my goodness, I love it! Friday night sip and list. Okay, come bring your tea, your margarita, your I don't know, maybe a Cosmo, whatever it is. All right, ledgers and letters on Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific. Every hour here is in Pacific Standard Time, but it will show whatever zoning area you are. And here it is on Monday, every morning at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. All right, Trish, that's Mastermind. Share with us Mastermind about Mastermind, Trish, please.
So Mastermind started kind of as a accountability group that we would get together and talk about making sure that we were doing um, enough, or what was enough what we were trying to do in our business. And it really morphed from that into a daily group of a
Yeah.
different topic. And so every day we try to concentrate on a different topic, and we
Right.
try to really deep dive into that. And so I do not know why that one doesn't have a topic next to it, but usually they do. And when we're off of here, I'll find out why that one doesn't have a topic. Um, Except for this coming week, I'm on vacation. So Miss Clara is doing Monday and Tuesday. So maybe that's why there isn't a topic, because you're going to do whatever you wish, because she's the boss. So she can do whatever she wants. Um, so Monday and Tuesday, Clara's going to be doing it. I'm going to do the rest of the week. And, it's really just it's just great. And it really has become a place where if you're having any problems, if you want some question of how you would handle something in your business, you can just go in and say, this is happening. What do you guys think? And it's really a great place to have a
Right.
sounding board and to have other resellers who understand. And it's also, we have people in there who are brand new to people like Susie Eads, who's been doing it for almost 30 years,
That's right.
and we have people who have 1,000 items, and we have people who have 15, 20,000 items. And so you
Exactly.
really build the gamut of what it is and where you're trying to go. And it is really, thanks, Desiree. Desiree comes almost every single day, if not every day. There are a lot of people. Oh, thanks, Becca. There are a lot of people who come every day, and I really appreciate it. And it's also a good place because you can say, hey, I'm interested in this. And then we're going to try to accommodate it. Chris Dunnard is one of the women who comes almost every day, and she would like an accountability class. So we're going to start
Yeah,
one another week. We're going to
that's
start
right.
doing accountability. So we really try to listen to what people want. Brian Conway, which he texted me. I haven't texted you back yet, Brian. I've been busy today, but I will today.
Right.
Brian's going to start his own meetup. He got approved for having his own meetup. So one of the classes we decided in listing parties, we're going to have a class for meetup organizers so that
Good. Good.
we can help, figure out.
And
I've been,
that's the eBay, right? eBay meetup
yep,
organizers.
it's for,
Hello, Trish. Hi, everybody. Am I still live? Did I froze?
you
Did
froze
Trish?
for a second, Clara, I think, but you're back now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I think so we're going to start that. So we'll have a place for meetup organizers. I have a meetup. Dana Crawford has a meetup who's in the
That's
chat.
right.
She has a meetup. And then there's a lot of people in our group now who are starting meetups or have meetups. So we just
Right.
want a place that we can help. And Clara didn't freeze. It was me, evidently. Kim said it was
Okay.
me. So sorry.
All right. So no problem. Hey, it happens that we're live. That's a proof that this is not pre-recorded. We are live, Trish, and you're rocking it.
Good.
Hey, love, would you like to go with news before we jump into sustainability?
Yes.
Does it equal to profit? Does it? And who am I to tell you this? In the meantime, you're going to go to www.theclothingvault.com. I own that, okay? You can go on Instagram, on Facebook, on Pinterest, on my website. I also, you can see my eBay store, Poshmark, Mercari, etc., etc. So, Trish, let's go with a little with what about, there is a lot of news I know you were very excited to share with our community I think some reseller news.
Yep. So this week, there was quite a few things that happened this week. So Clara and I just thought we should touch on them. One of them is that Poshmark's reverted its decision about how it's doing the fee structure.
Trish, didn't I say it? Didn't I say it? I called it. You can go and watch, go and see, okay, list perfectly when we're talking about in our YouTube channel, Poshmark fees. You can see it there also on our Facebook group and page, I believe. But I said it. If this new fee structure doesn't get along well with the community, didn't I say, Trish, that they could reverse it? In that, well done, Poshmark.
Yeah, I mean, they reversed it. I am assuming in my educated guess that it was a buyer-driven decision. I don't think it was seller-driven. But they reversed within 2 weeks, which for a big company is a big change in a very short amount of time. I mean, because one of the things that I've said before, these are like tankers, right? You're like a tanker in the ocean. You can't just come to a direct stop and pivot like small businesses can. So the fact that Posh pivoted so quickly is pretty impressive, I think. And they listened to the community, I think mostly the buyer community, but without them, we're not making any money. So we need them to be happy.
Right.
So, Tommy just said, people, how much damage did they do? As in how many buyers left who won't be back? Tommy, it's an interesting question. I'm hopeful, and I don't know this for sure, but I'm hopeful that Poshmark is doing a little damage control on their end and maybe, trying to reach, yes, you are, Wade, trying to reach out to some people and, maybe put out something to buyers and entice them to come back in some way. I wouldn't be surprised by that. So hopefully not too much damage. Hopefully it's been all contained. So the other thing in reseller news this week, Clara, is Mercari at the moment has taken color off of their intake form.
What's going on? Is this permanent? Is this temporary? Mercari team, it's we haven't heard anything. Okay, so this is breaking news as it is for you to me. Okay.
Yeah, so we don't know if it's if this is where that direction they're going, that they're not going to have color, or if it's just something that's being changed and it will be back. We have no
You know what
idea.
I'm guessing, Trish and audience? I am just guessing that this could be permanent. This could be, okay? Because if it was a developer oversight, ouch, someone is going to be in trouble. But what I think, this could be permanent. This is a theory, all right? No, but I think, Trish, that this could be removed in order to reduce claims of items not as described, or maybe like a anti-fraud and deterrent for the
Yeah.
holiday season. So I really don't know if it's temporary or permanent. So we'll keep you posted as soon as we know anything.
And anybody who uses List Perfectly, there was a little bit of confusion when you were cross posting where that went. And I think originally they didn't understand it. So just so everybody knows, it was not on our side. It's completely on their side. So if you went in and did it natively, you will also see that it's not there.
All right. All right. Anything? Do we have any other news?
The only other thing I'd like to talk about for reseller news is to keep your eyes open for the USPS holiday rate hike.
Ooh.
It will happen. It happens every year. Whether it's permanent or not depends on some things. Sometimes they just do a surcharge for the holidays.
Right.
But just keep your eyes open. FedEx already put theirs into effect. So FedEx has already done theirs.
Right.
UPS will probably have something, and definitely USPS. So just be on the lookout for that.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. So that is our section about reseller news. Thank you, Trish. So now, with much further ado, let's talk about sustainability. Does it equals profit? So I'm going to share with you just a little. I'm going to do an introduction of myself. I did ask you to go to www.theclothingbolt.com. And let me see, I am here. So I'll show you, all right? So here is my Instagram page. You can see that my last post, all right, Phoenix, Arizona. I was already living here. I left California already. But as you can tell, the date of this down here, says September 19, 2019. Back in the day, look at the comments of people, and look at the listing. Back in the day, I was already doing this. And what I'm selling, as you can tell, all right, it's pre-loved vintage. So I was modern and vintage clothing. I shipped worldwide. At the top, or I'm reading, fast customer service, multi-channel seller, top-rated seller, and then I could put a link to my website, theclothingvault.com. As you can tell, look at the comments of it's just incredible, the comments of on the items, people just commenting and just talking about it, liking it, etc. So it's a very something that made me a lot of pleasure, Trish, to reduce landfills. A lot of these items, I bought them in packs, so they are compressed on these machines, and I could go to wholesalers. And I want to let you know that I'm going to be talking later today. Should you wash it? Should you dry clean it? Should you repair it? Okay. Those things we're going to be talking. So my forte, guys, it's clothing. That doesn't mean I did not sell. I did not sell other stuff. Like, for example, another thing that we did a lot with Amanda, because, we, as resellers, we use with Amanda growing, and managing multiple channels and developing this clothing back in the day, Trish, is we sold our electronics that didn't work. That was something that is incredible. I cannot emphasize so much to people, incredible the money you can do for stuff that doesn't work. The screen doesn't work perfect. Just let them know that doesn't work. So that was a very, very good way to reduce landfill. So for me, my mission, Trish, with the Clothing Vault guys was, we could have gone a lot of modern, but if you go to my website, literally it's 10% modern and then 90% vintage clothing, mainly men's winter vintage clothing. That was my niche, if you please. But then we did also suits, okay, militaria. We did also sold cars, okay. We sold computer parts, you name it. So we did a lot of pre-owned stuff that for me was a mission for me coming from the third world countries. For me was a mission for me to reduce landfills, because it really adds a particular mission. When you have a small business, it's something that helps. For me, I love helping from buying from small sellers that support sustainable practices. Why? Because that's what makes you different from Walmart, from from Target, from etc. So
Well, I
for
mean,
me, that was my thing, Trish.
yeah, I mean, there's an argument to be made that
Uh-huh.
even if we don't think of ourselves as being overly sustainable or overly worried about it, that just by the nature of what we do, we are doing it.
Yeah,
Because you are right, we keep the items out of landfills. And
exactly.
if anyone is interested in this topic, I would suggest that you watch the documentary on HBO called Brandy Melville. That it isn't really about the store. I mean, there's one whole part about the store, which isn't the most interesting. I mean, it's interesting as in interesting, but not about sustainability. But they go into all of the sustainability about how fast fashion has really kind of messed up people's, especially
Yeah,
third world countries, and that we ship so much fashion over there, so much textiles, that it just ends up in the ocean. And they show it, and it's unbelievable how much is being shipped out of the United States
yeah.
constantly. And
And
so,
you know what? It's upsetting, and we're gonna talk about it. And you know why I don't like this, Trish? Because you guys think that they're doing a donation, but when it arrives to Argentina, all right, it gets to the government, but then people inside the government that are corrupt, they sell it to people, to locals. So it never gets donated. Never,
yeah,
never, believe me. And what's worse, my wholesalers from Los Angeles, they would buy the donated item from the US, okay, from all over. Okay, this is Pakistan, Argentina, Brazil, Iran, etc. They could buy it because they were shipping it back, and then you buy it cheap. And
right.
it was a deal for them. So it's just not a good thing. Again, donate, stuff, and what you're creating is someone that is going to be dependent. Oh, give me more. And then, but if you donate, a product, a service in which you're teaching people in the third world countries to have a trade or a skill, that's something that, then you're creating, resolving a problem. So for me, that's why it was so close to me, Trish, to do whatever it took to prevent those donations to third world countries.
And it's an interesting thing, and I think especially since many of us were in the used clothing game, right?
Yeah.
And clothing is so plentiful, and there's an abundance of it. So there's so much clothing, especially cheap fast fashion. There's just so much of it, and it doesn't last, and it doesn't wash well. It doesn't wear well after a couple of times. And so
Yep.
being able to buy a higher quality item, a
Yeah.
better made item, even if it's an older item, even if it's a vintage item, but
Right.
you're buying something that can last and that it wears well and is going to look well for a long time, look good for a long time. And so there is a dichotomy in that. And maybe you're going to
Right.
spend a little bit more. Hi, Linda.
Mhm.
You're going to spend a little bit more, but you get a better quality item.
Right.
And so, but and we've talked about this in Mastermind a couple of times, and I
Yeah.
don't really think of myself as being somebody who thought about sustainability in my
Oh my
business.
God, no. Can you share with the audience what you sell, Trish? If anybody's embracing sustainability,
Yeah, I
they
know.
should be flaunting it, okay?
No, well,
To,
that's kind of where I was going with it. Like, I don't think of myself as doing that, but I think in
yeah,
reality, you're right. It is. I sell used clothing, and I'm a high volume seller. So, which means that my average price is like 22 bucks. I am not selling high end items. I'm selling everyday normal clothing.
right.
And to me, a lot of that would have ended up somewhere. You're right. And so, um, it's true. I mean, it's true. The rag people don't even want some of it. If it's too made of it out of too much plastic, they don't want it. Um, but it's really it's an interesting thing. And we had talked about this recently at Mastermind, and Shar, who was in here a little while ago, she reuses every box. Desiree reuses every box.
Yep.
They make sure they're not buying new, that they're reusing, and they get those
Right.
stickers from eBay that says this is a recycled box.
Yep.
They try to really live the whole, we're going to have a sustainable business and we're not going to be
Right.
buying outside of,
Right.
things that we can't get. Yeah.
So the thing is that for me was understanding, for me, sustainability equal not profits but tremendous amount of profits. You can do drop shipping and do $5 million of volume, and then your net earnings after you do write-offs and you pay everybody off, right? Then might be like what, maybe $250,000. Okay, that's your net. $500,000 on a sunny day. For me was, guys, for every dollar that I invested, for example, okay, a jacket, a t-shirt that was, $5. All right. For me, I knew that I have to sell that t-shirt. Okay. Minimum 10x. My goal was $500 for sure, to allow room. Okay. Just in case there was some go back and forth with offers and etc., or negotiation. But for me, it was so rewarding, Trish, to go and buy these packs, these compressed packs, okay, of wool coats. And I have to do 3 piles, guys. Okay. One pile was the one that I could leave just on the sun. UV light is the best thing to remove, the old smell, right? UV light is the best. Just make sure you're not in Arizona when it's 120 degrees, because, okay, things are different here. So other than that, so if you're in Arizona, make sure you keep your stuff, okay, in a climate control storage facility, all right? Just say
Burst into flames because it's so hot outside.
yes. But that was something, okay, that we consistently did, okay, to embrace sustainability. And then we have a pile that could go to dry cleaners, the pile that need to be washed, then the pile that was ready to list as is with a steamer and I could steam, and then the pile that needed to go to the seamstress or the lady with the sewing machine, whatever. I think it's seamstress, right?
Stress, yes, it
Yeah,
is. You
the
said it right.
seamstress. Yep. And so to repair, we would buy stuff with cigarette holes, okay, and then I would have patches. And just, if it was a fleece jacket, very common, for example, the Patagonia fleece jackets, very common to have burn holes. So I would just buy, like a park patch and just sew it, and that's it, end of a problem. So it was exciting for me to repair, and I cannot even explain you. 90% of people would welcome that. One people here and there once a month would tell me, "Oh, that patch is ugly. Why would you put it?" And then I would explain them, and because I would tell them it's in the listing, we're restoring clothing, okay, and we put a patch covering this, but you know how it is. Buyers do not read that much our
No, they
listing.
do not always read the thing. So what was the deciding factor for you if it was worth like bringing it to a seamstress? So was it
Oh, oh,
money, like it had to be worth a certain amount of money before you'd
yes.
invest, or yeah.
Two things have to be, or very profitable, and if it wasn't profitable, would be something that would bring. Okay, I always call it the hook. I swear to you, Trish. So I would put like a very cheap auction, all right, just to bring traffic people to my store, or put, but it has to be branded, okay, like Salvatore Ferragamo, Loro Piana, something like that, right? Uh, Armani, Chanel, anything like that. And let's say that it had like some maybe beige this color on the collar, okay,
Yeah.
or maybe the cuffs, typical, it's worn,
Yep.
if it's a wool jacket, the tips, okay, the edges are, worn off, buttons, okay, sometimes miss the logo. So for me, the determining factor was those two. all right? Or it's gonna bring me a lot of money, or it's gonna bring me a lot of traffic because
Right.
it's a branded item, and I might take a hit, and I would like not to take a hit more than the 30% of the value that I estimate the item could go for. And
Okay.
the key for me was to put it cheap so people would come for that. And it's incredible how many people I was able to
So
convert.
like a loss leader.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Calculated loss. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you think about it, I still do that with Liz perfectly. Sometimes people tell me, Clara, you have incredible swag and giveaways. I'm very smart. I know that if I give something quality, A, I embrace sustainable practices, even as Liz perfectly, because I don't buy cheap swag. Okay. And B, okay, I know that people appreciate quality stuff. Tommy is, was just, I think that Tommy was just saying, Trish, that nobody makes anything with quality anymore. I kind of disagree, Tommy. You know, I have, like, for example, I was kind of disappointed with, I'm going to get technical here, okay, Trish. So back in the day, for extreme water resistance, okay, what you had was a 60% poly, 40% cotton blend, and that's how those are Adirondack Adirondack jackets, okay, would be in order to be waterproof. That then in the 90s or late 90s, okay, early 2000s, Gore-Tex was introduced. So that blend was left aside for a cheap just nylon, and then it's coated with the Gore-Tex to create the repellency. So Tommy, the days that companies took those shortcuts are gone. Now brands are starting to do again, but the quality now, it's expensive. For example, you have the oil finished jackets, right, for water repellency, like Barbour, which is a brand from Great Britain. I don't know if we have our in our audience someone from Great Britain. We had it in Instagram, but just something, it's very high quality, and things are starting to get back. I seen it in Rain Spooner, Tommy Bahama, even they dropped the quality. I remember, like 10 years, like 15 years ago, and like approximately 8 years ago, they start to increase the quality again,
I mean,
because they realize.
I'd make that argument about Coach, to be honest with you. Coach
Yes.
really let their brand go down. Their products.
Well,
Um,
they did the whole brand. You see what
yeah, the
I'm
whole
saying?
brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yep.
now they have really, now they're making, they've
Uh,
kind of split into two. I mean, they still have things for the outlets that they're making specifically, but now they have pocketbooks that are as good as Louis Vuitton. They are
yeah.
beautiful, beautiful leathers. They really are
Wow.
bringing it back to what it was. And so I do think you're right. I do think that there are a certain amount of higher end, mid to higher end designers who are really trying to bring quality back. And I
Yeah.
appreciate it because I do think it's needed. We got into this fast fashion thing,
Yep.
and hopefully we
Yeah.
can start to move away from that.
We are,
Um,
we are,
yeah.
we are. Especially younger generations is incredible. Todd, hi Todd, says the kind of bigger problem is the rich people that pay the money, wear it one time, and then get rid of it. You know what, Todd? The only reason I respectfully disagree with you guys is because, Burberry, Tom Ford, Laura Piana, everybody that does, like, for example, Gucci, Prada, Dolce Gabbana, okay, they do those collections, and if they don't sell, they burn it.
Yeah. So
So
my dad was
I
a
think
judge.
that's a bigger. You see, Trish, what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I think
no.
that I love what you're saying, Todd, but I don't know, Trish. What do you think?
Well,
What
I
are
was just
your
going to
thoughts?
tell you a story. My dad was a judge, as you know. My father was a judge, and one day he called me. He got a they were, I mean, this isn't exactly the same, but you just remind me of it. He got a order from the state police asking to be able to burn a tractor trailer load of goods
Oh,
that had been counterfeited.
yep, that's right.
And they would rather burn them than have them, even though they were wearable, some of them were sneakers, some were clothes, some were pocketbooks. And so these brands, a
Right.
lot of these brands will do anything they can to keep it out of the secondary market or being
Yep.
or being faked.
Yeah. That's right.
Um,
That's right.
so yeah, it's an interesting thing.
But these we're talking about perfectly, not counterfeit,
Yes.
perfectly flawless clothing that
Yeah,
just
but
gets
they would
burned
rather.
because it wasn't sold out. And they prefer to burn it than being on secondary market. So
Right.
that's something, make sure you read the mission of the companies, okay? If you are, and then, for those of you resellers, you don't care because at the end of the day, you're saving that item of clothing, right? Kathy, Trish says, reduce, you reuse, recycle, or reuse all boxes. Measure them. Put the measurements on the end and store them by size to reuse. Smart. There you have it. That's a nice tip, Trish, huh?
That is a very good tip. And I know that
Yeah.
there's quite a few people in the chat who do similar things,
Right.
save all their boxes. I know Shar does. They save all their boxes and they try to reuse them whenever possible.
Like
And
that.
they don't want to buy anything new. Um, and I get it. Why spend the money on a brand new box when you can get them easy enough. And that
Right.
is another reason why you should all be in a local meetup, because your
Yeah.
local meetup, somebody may say, hey, I'm not going to sell hats anymore. I got 10 hat boxes. Would anyone like them? Or I'm not going to use bubble wrap anymore, or peanuts, or whatever. And so having reseller, quote unquote, reseller friends, um, and they'll be willing to share these things because they understand the value in it and not just put it in the rubbish or the trash, whatever you guys want to call it. So I agree with you, Miss Clara.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Kathy saying, for those of you that those nasty labels that don't come off from packages, use emery board or sandpaper and scrape off all the info. I also use, yes, absolutely. Sometimes the flat, what do you call the one that I use for the walls? Also, I use the flat, like a spoon.
Oh, a scraper. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like a palette knife.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So, Tommy says we all hear sustainability, but what does it really mean? Reusability. So, sustainability comes, okay, from something that is going to help you to provide, okay, a long use or reuse, like you said, more than reusability, but also that is going to be something that also is not reducing the damage of its footprint on the carbon footprint that lives, on our Mother Earth.
Well, and
So,
the longer we use something, right?
yeah,
The longer that you can use it and keep it out of a landfill, the better it is. And then that
yeah,
is, you
and the
know,
more sustainable.
yeah, and the more sustainable it becomes. Like reuse, recycle, upcycle, all of these things are,
Yeah,
you know, and unfortunately, we are just not where maybe we should be as a society for recycling, right? We're
yeah,
still, we still don't do it as well as we could or should. It's still expensive. And
right.
so until they figure out some ways to be able to recycle some of these items easier, they're going to end
Yeah.
up in a landfill or
Yeah.
overseas.
That's right. That's right. No, no, no. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So whether you're selling on volume or you're selling boutique, like I used to be with the clothing vault, definitely you are embracing reuse of sustainable practices. Now, for me, one of the best tips. Let me see if I can get. Oh, where is it? Okay. Aha. One of the best tips I'm gonna give, okay, about sustainability, as you can see, literally this is items from list perfectly from the clothing vault. Okay, you can even see put both deal, and you can find it on the website. The listing is still there. But one of the things that I did, Trish, okay, one of my best tips that I want to share with the audience and with you is that I was using on purpose. If you are a clothing seller, so I would put a little white here, okay, and then reuse my labels, reinsert. So even my labels I make sure, okay, that I could reuse, okay, then rehang on the item, right? There it is. There you have it. And there is the new, let's say that I changed the inventory. So that's a practice that I would like you guys, right now we print labels, okay, for every individual listing with the Pro Plus plan. And I really encourage you to use to put these labels on something that you can reuse. All right. And it's definitely something that is a very good tip on. Do you have a tip for sustainability inventory, Trish?
Well, for me, I did the same thing differently. I reuse my inventory labels also,
Yeah.
but I reuse them again and again. So they're laminated. I've made
Yeah.
them, they're laminated, and I can use them forever. And
Right.
I just when I sell one of it, it gets put in a bucket, and then I use those to, use my when the next time I list, I can just pick one out, put the inventory label on it, and then I know where it goes.
Yeah.
So I think having the idea of being able to reuse, whether it's a single SKU like you did or a SKU
Yep.
that you use like I did, being
Yep.
able to reuse those things over and over again is, completely makes sense. And the other thing I would say is maybe invest a little bit more money into your buckets
Yeah.
or however you're going to store your items. And
Right.
the reason I say that is I've bought cheap ones and then you end up breaking them and you have to get rid of them. But if I spent an extra $3 a bucket, I could get a really heavy bucket that would
Yeah.
last a very long time, if not forever.
Right.
So I do think that, you can think about not only reuse and recycle, but sustainability in the sense of how good quality is this? How long is it going to last me? How long do I need it to last?
Right.
Because it may be worth spending a little bit more money.
Right. No, absolutely, absolutely. And again, it comes down to reducing the footprint, the carbon footprint of, the items that you're reselling. And again, this for for sure, okay, that it applies, okay, for any kind of item. So I want to share here, for example, one of the things, another tip that I'm going to share, guys, is what to do when you have, for example, items that are flawed. So look at these dolphins, Florida, Miami Dolphins, chalkline jacket, but look at the flaw that it has there, okay, the cut in the jacket. So as long as you describe it or take pictures, all right, you're not going to have any problems, okay. I recommend you, if you're doing a condition on pre-love items, take the time to put an item condition and put some notes. Moderate signs of wash and wear, no holes, snaps are firm, seams are tight, authentic vintage condition, as in not a reproduction. Please see description, because you know how buyers are. They're very, let's say, they don't like to take the time to read the product description. And then condition definitions, photos, measurements for your desired condition. And you can see here I provide on inches. List perfectly does this for you automatically. All right. And you can see this already. This is a listing back in the day that I did. But definitely don't be afraid of selling items that they have tears, smudges, holes. The only time that I stop is when something is really yellow. Yellow is the enemy of anything that is collectible of vintage. Unfortunately, that sometimes people leave clothing to the sun, and then that yellowing will never, it's just impossible to remove. But that's my other tip, Trish.
Yeah, and I think that being able to think at these things in a certain way helps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And realize that people who want a certain quality or a certain vintage, they're okay with flaws. They know it's been around for 100 years or 50 years, and it's going to have some issues. I just want to say, Crystal wrote, I don't consider myself someone who is really conscious about sustainability, but I do not waste resources. I will reuse a box to ship, but don't go out of my way to recycle shipping materials. That is, I think, how I feel also most of the time. I'll reuse a box. I don't reuse poly bags, which is what I
Right,
mostly send things out in.
right.
Um, and I don't for the user experience, I think. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing how you can get away. I do love. Does
Uh-huh.
everybody know that eBay makes those stickers that says this is a reused box? Like it's about
Oh,
helping.
really? I
Yeah.
didn't know. So do you get it when you get the free shipping
Yes.
item?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yep.
there, good tip, great tip. So there you have it. Okay. Even eBay. In
Yep.
eBay. Okay. If eBay is offering you a sticker saying, hey, this box is reused, or, thank you for
Yeah, it
embracing
says like, yeah,
practice, or whatever it is,
and it's
So
good, and
thank
it's
you.
from it's eBay branded, and it has a little
Yeah.
little earth symbol on it with the three
Oh,
arrows. So they're a good sticker to have, especially if you're going to reuse a box or you're going to
right.
reuse something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing to stick on there.
No, definitely your earth conscious crystal. Okay. So you don't need, guys, you don't need to be like literally, okay, eating on a paper plate every day, to say, hey, I'm embracing sustainable practices, but you do reuse, and that's what matters, Crystal. So those are sustainable practices. So there is no, you can't compare, okay, how someone embraces certain sustainability practices and someone others didn't. Okay, so just make sure you don't compare yourself, and as long as you have some sustainable practices, let your buyers know. Okay, let your buyers know, or use that sticker that Trish said, from eBay, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, try it. And I also think, if you're somebody who's
Yeah.
sending stuff out, um, if you're if you're somebody who's sending stuff out in maybe branded boxes,
Right.
really those stickers may be more important than if you're just using a brown box, reused brown
Exactly.
box. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to talk about now restoring and cleaning. Okay. Is it worth it? Okay. Whether it's hard goods or clothing, as long as you are buying something that that your audience will buy it with a flow, whether you find something pre-loved, pre-owned, okay, or pre-loved, and it has, whether it has a flow, that's, I think, is the key when you're making an investment on your inventory. Will you sell it with a flow? And sometimes what happens is when you clean an item, whether it's hard goods of clothing, washing, steaming, dry cleaner, seamstress, okay, things happen and things could get damaged. So I did calculate, to be honest, there is a cost of sustainability, Trish, when it comes to selling pre-loved items. And at least on my case was a 3% of items, okay, would not make it, okay, to whether I stored it and then by the time I wanted to ship it, it was as it would fall apart. All right. So there is a risk of when you are going to resell pre-love stuff. So just as something to keep in mind. What do you think about? What are your thoughts on that?
My thought is it has to be of a certain price point to make it worth it. And I think it really depends on what you're selling. And I think it depends on what your price point is. At my price point, it is not worth 90%, 95% of the time. It is not worth me buying something that I then need to put time and effort into.
Right.
Because my price point is, 1/5 of what your price point was.
Right.
So, if we're talking, but if we're talking high end stuff or good vintage stuff, I think it is worth probably being able to fix a repair, clean it, dry clean it, whatever it is, because you're going to make up the money on the other end. But at my price point, I am only buying stuff that I can sell it right then. I am not
Right.
buying things that I need to put any time or money into, because if I have to bring it to a dry cleaner, I've eaten all my profit for me
Yeah.
at my price point.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. You got to calculate that repair or dry or washing, all right, has to be built in. You have to be very thrifty with your receipts, okay, of the of the dry cleaner. If you back in the day when I live in Los Angeles, I have to go to a wash laundry machine, okay, one of those, the big ones, and then I would do just the load really really quick, okay. But definitely I would pass the cost of the cleaning to the customers. That's something definitely you want to keep in mind. So it was crucial for me to, I would go to Etsy, Trish, a lot, and I would buy literally the, if it is like clothing and hard goods, you find the parts. I found it more on Etsy, and electronics, I found it more on eBay.
Yeah.
So we did different things to fix stuff with Amanda and resell it. Because Amanda obviously also have hard good knowledge. Actually, she started with on systems with hardware, and then she moved to software. So Amanda is super amazing when it comes to repairing even laptops, etc. So definitely, is to keep in mind, how much are we gonna invest on something, running the risk that it might not arrive to our buyer, but at the same time, for me, the return of investment was way bigger than doing a reselling arbitrage or doing, Amazon, etc.
So speaking of that,
Yeah,
we are starting something new, Clara and I, today. So yep. So it's quarter of. So I just wanted to bring it up
yeah.
because in 15 minutes, Clara and I are going to be live in Listing Party, and we're going to continue this conversation over there. So if you belong to List Perfectly, we hope that you will come and meet us. If you belong to List Perfectly and you've never been in Listing Party, you can use your credentials, your regular List Perfectly credentials, to sign into Listing Party. Probably take you 2 minutes, just make a little profile and come over and meet us. Would be in the events tab. So do you want to show that, Clara? Can you show Listing Party? So
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I want to apologize because we should have done this by
yeah, I know. I just saw the time and
a
I was like,
long time
oh,
ago. I think we might leave it for next time.
oh,
Trish.
you want
Yeah,
to? Okay.
yeah. Let's see if because we should have done it. So here it is. Okay, but we can go. All right. I think because let me refresh. All right. So there it is. Okay. Oh, you put it at noon. Okay, perfect. Okay. Got it. So at noon, we'll go real quick, and finish, wrap it up there. Definitely. No problem. Let's do it, Trish. Let's do it.
Okay. So this is going to be something we're going to try now from now on. We'll start here and then we'll go over there and then we can interact more. You guys can be on camera. We can actually have a discussion. So the thing about Listing Party that's different than YouTube is it's really more an open dialogue because everybody can talk. We could talk to everybody. People raise their hands. It's all very respectful. It's not just one big jungle, but we can have a discussion. You can be on camera. We all see each other. So we decided we're going to try this little hybrid thing and see how it works. And
That's
so
right.
if you do not belong to Listing Party, I'm just going to say that think about joining, even if you join at the lowest level just to come to Listing Party. It is really a good investment in your business and in yourself, in my opinion.
That's right. It's anybody here in our audience that doesn't have lists perfectly at the moment? Let me know. Type it right now because we're coming to the end of our session and we're going to see you on Listing Party. But also, I want to highlight that we have Thank You Star, Flipping Hippos. She has True Crime and List. Creepy, Scary Menendez Brothers. Oh, that was creepy, Star. That was creepy. Wow, man. Oh, what's wrong with those brothers? Oh, wow, that was just insane. What an interesting turn on that. I thought it was a very good show on Netflix.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I can remember it happening, when it happened. So
Right.
it's interesting. Looks like they're going to get out of prison. So,
I
you
know,
know,
yes, I know.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. So I'll be interested to see what Star has to say
That's
about that.
right.
And
That's
then
right.
tonight, of course, Jill has Sip and List. So if anyone
Yes.
tonight,
And Sip and List tonight, Jill. Thank you so much. And thank you for this incredible live. And thank you, Trish. And this was really good. If you have more questions, again, go to Listing Party. And we're happy to see you there in 10 minutes. Let's go and grab something to drink.
all
See you
right.
then, Trish.
Yes, see you there in a few minutes.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
guys.
Bye. Happy weekend. Many sales.